Hello and welcome to my rules explanation slash playthrough of One Deck Dungeon. This version is the Steam port. I can't imagine it's that much different from mobile. The the game itself is a solid port, and I've actually been playing this game quite a bit lately. It's a fairly entertaining. It's it's kind of a math puzzle, actually, in the form of a roguelike dungeon situation. So this is, of course, our main page. Let's take a quick look just at the cards. Because, of course, the idea of a one deck dungeon is you have one deck of cards, you shuffle them up, and you just encounter what you encounter. The game takes care of that for you. But as with most tabletop to digital ports, it's going to retain a lot of the components. So, for example, there's going to be dice. And you're going to see the dice. They're going to be actually like they were physical dice. The different components of this game are going to look like the cards that are in One Deck Dungeon. So, let's look at some of those cards. These are the heroes that you could play. We're going to be playing with the archer, because I haven't done any run-throughs with the archer yet. I've played the mage for a while. I enjoy the mage. Obviously, she's a little bit more magic inclined. You can kind of deduce based on the class of each of these heroes what each symbol means. Yellow is going to be combat, and this is going to be how many dice the hero is going to get for a check of that kind. So for a combat check, the paladin would get 3 dice, the warrior's going to get 4, the rogue and the mage are going to get 1, the archer's going to get 2. But for an agility test, which is the pink, the archer will get 3, the rogue's going to get 4, the paladin's going to get 1. She's not too agile. Look at that. Look at that stunning armor. And then blue, of course, that's what the mage specializes in, so that's going to be your magic. So then the hearts are hit points. So one thing that we can do to increase these stats, right, as we're going through the dungeon, one thing we can do is we can pick up loot. So if we look at one of the encounter cards, you'll notice we don't look too much at any of the rest of the card. I know that's kind of hard to do. And if I were explaining this in person, I would cover everything else up except for what I'm explaining. But like this one, you've got this yellow symbol. So what you would do when you successfully encounter this, once you resolve the encounter, you can tuck this card under your hero. So it would be right here, and it would add an additional yellow symbol next to your symbols. So when you do a combat check from then on, you'd be able to roll 3 dice instead of your 2, or 2 instead of your 1, 4 instead of your 3, etc., etc. There is a hard limit of 8 in the game. Now, some of them are going to have benefits like this. This will give you not only an additional dice, but also an additional hit point. So that's pretty neat. Another thing you can do in an encounter, these are skills. And you would, if you were playing the physical version, you would tuck that under here. So it's kind of like an innovation or Montanai sort of situation. Depending where you put your loot, depending how you resolve the encounter, you'll either get you'll get loot, which would get you a new dice, a skill, which lets you manipulate the dice during rolls, or experience points, XP, which are denoted up here by these, I don't know what they are, like bells? I don't know. So you beat this encounter, you get 2 experience points, but you have some encounters that are 4 experience points. You stack those on top of your hero in the physical version. Of course, the digital version is going to have a slightly different way of keeping track of all this. But it's a very clever way to be able to use one deck for everything. That all of your cards can act as the encounter itself. Loot, a skill, or some sort of XP value, which is pretty neat. There are 2 different types of encounter cards. We can have what I call environment encounter cards, or combat encounter cards, and they're denoted by these two separate symbols. Environment encounter is always going to have two options for what check you can do. So in the case of the arrow wall, you can do a magic check, blue, or an agility check, pink. The this one you can do a combat check or an agility check. The combat cards, the combat encounters, will have some modification based on the type of adversary you're encountering, and then of a number of variations of checks. So the bandit, you need agility and combat. The beetle, you need some agility, a little bit of magic, and some combat. The fire elemental, you need some magic and some agility. The gloopy ooze, magic and combat. And these are the cards that are going to be making up your dungeon. They're going to be shuffled, they're going to be set down into a deck, and you're going to go from there. We'll talk in more detail as we play the game about what's going on, but that's basically what we're going to be doing. We're going to be rolling the dice based on how many we have for each symbol, and we'll be assigning those dice to these values to try to defeat what we're encountering. This game comes with 5 dungeons, which have 3 floors and then a main boss. We're going to be playing the Dragon's Cave because it's the baby one. And in the regular game, these are your levels, and then there's stairs. So let's go back. We are going to start a new game. Like I said, we're going to start with the archer. I haven't played anything with the archer yet. So we'll see how she goes. We're playing on baby. We're playing on novice. You can also play standard, or veteran, or fearless. We're going to be playing novice. And we're going to go to the Dragon's Cave, which always seems kind of mean to me. Like, you go to this creature's house and you attack it in its own house. It's not... But let's go ahead and jump right in. And let's take a look at what our game board is going to look like. So we have our hero information over here. This is how many dice we'll get to roll on a combat check, agility check, magic check. This is how many hit points we have. This is our heroic feat, which we'll talk about in a minute. This is our starting skill, which our skills are going to show down here, and the same is true with our potions, when we would be able to trigger it. So in this case, we would be able to trigger this during a combat check, but not, or combat encounter, but not during an environment encounter. And if you would lose only 1 heart, you can spend time instead. So if we were to lose 1 hit point, we could spend a time instead. We could prevent 1 damage in each boss round, and we use this before suffering the consequences. We'll talk about what that means. This is our timer for the floor. So we have this much time on floor 1 to explore floor 1, try to beat some dudes, try to level up, try to get some loot and some new skills. Because remember, there's 3 floors, and then we have the boss, assuming we get that far. There have been a couple times I haven't gotten to the boss. When I say a couple, it's probably more than a couple. And this description is going to tell us some piece of rule-breaking information that's going to affect the state of the game. So the beginning of each turn, you're going to spend 2 time, which is basically discarding 2 from the deck. And that's what's going to take the deck down for us. And then we can do one of 2 things. We can explore if there are torches here, which show that we don't have anything explored yet, or we can enter a door. We can see what's behind a door. So clearly the first thing we have to do, we don't have any doors, so we're going to spend 2 time to explore, which gives us these doors. So now we have these door options. We can open any of these doors. Before we open the door, let's go ahead and see what our heroic feat is. Interesting. Okay. So there are 4 types of dice in the game. There's combat dice, agility dice, magic dice, and then this star dice, which is wild. You can use it in any check. At levels 2 and 3, you have 1. And at level 4, you get a second one that you can use in every check. Her heroic feat is to spend time to get additional dice. And we're probably going to do that fairly often, which means we're going to be running through this dungeon. So let's look and see what's in this one. It is an environment encounter. So remember, with an environment encounter, we will either be able to, get to choose which way we want to encounter it. Now, there is a third option, and that's to flee. And so we leave this exposed. We can come back to it if we want, but we don't have to face it. I'm not too confident, because I only have 2 of either die. And I would need... You know what we're going to do? We're going to try to destroy it, and we're going to use our heroic feat, because we would have lost 2 time up here anyway. Okay, so let's take a look. We're going to destroy it. We're going to heroic feat. We're going to spend 4 time to get 3 dice. Ugh. We're going to roll them, and we're going to discard 1. Well, we're obviously going to discard that 1. Alright, and then we have the rest of our dice. Now, let's talk about what these symbols mean within the boxes and what the boxes themselves mean. There are 4 potential symbols you'll see inside. This is armor. You have to meet the armor requirement before you can address any of the other boxes. So basically you have to beat their armor level. If we don't fulfill this box, we'll take 3 damage and we'll lose 2 time. Now, the shape of the boxes is very important. If it's a square, you can only assign 1 dice to it. But if it's a rectangle, you can assign as many dice as you'd like to it. Now, this part is specific to the rune puzzle part. This is going to affect every encounter that we have in Dragon's Cave from here on out. We're going to have to do a corresponding color to the check. Since we chose a combat check, it's going to be a yellow square. We're going to have to pass a 2 armor check, which we can already do with our wild. Let's go ahead and roll these dice, see what we get. Yeah, we're fine. So we assign a 2 there, which now means that we can put dice here. If we didn't have that 2 there, it wouldn't let us assign dice to that. So we put that, we put that, we put that. We don't get any sort of bonus for going over. Now before I put that in here, you see that our consequences would be 3 damage and 2 time lost. But once I satisfy this 11 condition here, we have no consequences. Pretty neato. So the 4th symbol that you might see in one of these squares is the skull, and we would see that in a boss fight. And hopefully we get to the boss and we can see that. So now is our choice. We can remember, we can tuck the encounter card as loot, a skill, or XP, which will be counted over here. What I do is I try to gather as much loot as I can, as many items as I can, and then I might go for skills. Now the reason for this is we have a maximum at each level of how many items we can carry and how many skills we can have. Once I get 3 items, I'm going to want to replace them. And when you replace them, let's see, can we see our items? You get the victory points. You get to tuck the card under your victory points section instead of over here for the loot. So you never have to get rid of something permanently, which is nice. The same thing is true of skills. So let's go ahead and look under this door. You see we're already at 25 time. Ooh, combat time. So this is a skeleton. And what we would need to fight, we actually might be pretty okay fighting this guy. His armor is magic based, so we would need a 2 and a 4. To defeat his armor, and then we can start to apply things to this. I say we try it, and it shows you down here what your consequences are going to be if you were to fail this right now. So remember, this is a combat check. This isn't an environmental check, which means you might have noticed, I should have pointed it out. In the environmental check, we only rolled our dice that corresponded to the color of the check. In that case, it was the combat dice. In a that in a combat situation, you're going to roll all of your dice. So let's do it. And we're going to do this thing again. I like it. It's a lot of time, but I guess thematically it makes sense because she's an archer. That's a rubbish roll. All right, we're going to get rid of that 2, and then we're going to roll all these little babies. Oof, what a waste of 6s. Okay, we might not do that. No, we probably will. Okay, so first things first, remember, we need to attack the armor. So we'll put that there, and we'll take this 2. You can see that you can go above the number, but of course you can't satisfy it with a lower number. So we're going to put this 6 here, this 5 here, this 3 here, oops, a doodle, this 3 over here, this 5 here, and now, oh, we're fine. We could put this 4 here. Now, if we didn't, let's say we didn't have a yellow 4. Let's say we just had this blue 6 and this red or this pink 5. Over here, we can exchange 2 dice for a wild dice whose pip value is the smaller of the 2 dice. So since we put in a 6 and a 5, we got a 5. If we were to put in this 3 and this 1, we would get a 1. Now, his specialty is a skeleton. If we were to leave any of these boxes empty, we would have to spend 2 more time, but we're not going to leave them empty. We can satisfy everything. I always double check down here to make sure that the consequences are at 0, because I get a little bit click happy. So doodle-doo-doo. And like I said, we're going to take items. We're just going to load up on items unless the skill is a really phenomenal skill. All right, so we've gone through 2 doors so far. We're over halfway done with our time here on level 1, so we definitely want to keep trucking along. We're probably going to fight this fire elemental. Yep. Oh gosh, this is going to be hard. Okay, but he's good. You can tell because he's worth 4 XP, so this is great. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to fight him. We're going to use our heroic feat, definitely. Now, you'll notice we took a damage, and that's the fire elementals thing is before the encounter, 1 hero loses heart. And it says 1 hero because you could play with 2 heroes, conceivably. So let's go ahead and do our heroic feat. Yeah, we're going to get rid of that 1. Roll all the rest of our dice. Now you'll see none of our squares here have the armor symbol, so we're free to start putting dice wherever we want to. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to address the 6s because they're quite high. And then we have a yellow 3, and then we have a pink 3, a blue 3. Yeah, we're okay. And we put those there for 9. That means we only need 2 more. So we can take this 6 and this 2 and put that there. And here we go. We defeated the fire elemental. So we end our encounter. We're either going to take this agility skill item, which is great because it also gives us an extra hit point. We take the skill, Mana Fountain, which lets you change a blue die to a 6. And it must be sent as mana on a blue skill, so you can't use it in the little exchanger machine over here. Or 4 XP. We're going to take this agility dice. Now is a good time to talk about potions. So we have a healing potion. Every class starts with a healing potion. And the healing potion is either cures 3 wounds if you're not in an encounter, if it's at the start of your turn, or it'll cure 2 wounds if you're in an encounter. So see how it switched to 2 right there. So that's kind of like a safety net for you. Oh, gross! This guy's terrible. I like that item though. The XP is nice. Well, maybe we'll fight him. So if you were to go over your hit points, you would be able to drink a potion to revive yourself. You get 1 potion for each level you're at. So when you get up to level 3, you get another potion. When you get up to level 4, you get another potion. Level 4 is the top, but you can still accrue experience points And if you do that, for every 5 experience points you accrue, you get another potion. Um, Also, sometimes in lieu of a skill, there will be a potion option. And the potions, this number kind of acts like a, oh, what's the word? I had an example for this. Um, Something that you can project upon. So it's just like a base, and it's kind of like you add a few drops of like some kind of, I don't know, extract or something to make it into a healing potion. These are just general potion bottles that you can then use in healing. If you had another one, you could make 2 of that, or you could make 1 of each, or 2 of that. I don't go towards potions a lot because they are so limited. I feel like I get more use out of skills and items. Now, remember, we're at 3 items for level 2. We're at 3 items. So it's reminding us here of that too. Like, be careful, don't get your heart too set on that combat and hit die. Yeah, let's fight the ogre. Why not? We're going to go ahead and spend some time to use our heroic feat to get those 2 extra dice. Okay, we get rid of... I don't know why it auto-selects the dice. Alright, we roll. Oh, that's terrible. That's really bad. Oh no. Oh no. Fudge. Okay, so what we can do, we know that these have to be single dice, and we know that we're only going to be able to fulfill one of them, and that's this 4. Because even trading our next highest ones, even if we were to trade in, we wouldn't, I don't know why we would trade in that 4. This 6 and this 3, we would only get a 3. So we don't want to do that. We want to use the 6 probably up here to fight that. We know we're not going to fill these 2. No, we have 4, and we could get 5, so we could do 9. So we put in a 3 and a 2, and then we put in a 2 and a 2, and then we put in a 1 and a 2. And that gives us 9. Now, we're all out of black dice, so this could have ended very poorly for us, because you can only exchange up until that hard limit of dice that's over here. So, you can see our consequences are going to be 4 hearts and 2 time. Now, we have this kiting ability, which we can use. But I think that's only 1. Yeah, that only gets rid of 1 if we have 1 damage that we would take. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this item and we're going to replace this one with it because it's a better version of that. Yipes. So we're at 5 wounds out of 7 hit points. We're going to go ahead and drink a healing potion, which clears up 3 of our wounds. We're going to spend 2 time to explore. Now, we ran out of time. Any time we would spend a time unit, and we have run out of our time already, we put a heart token over here. For every 3 heart tokens over here, we lose a hit point. So we have 2 options. We can either stay on this floor, or we can descend to the 2nd floor. We're going to go ahead and descend to the 2nd floor, because I'm probably going to want to use that heroic feat, and I don't want to shoot myself in the foot while I'm using it. So, we still have the effects from floor 1 in effect. We are going to be spending 5 time before you first turn on each floor, which kind of accelerates the game. Any combat check we have, any combat encounter, we're going to have to meet a 3 combat and a 5 magic. And any environment check we have, we're going to have to meet a 2 armor and a 6 whatever. And these are going to be in the genre, I guess, of whatever color the check is in. So let's spend our 2 to explore here, and let's see what's behind the first door. Boop. A locked door. Great. So we can either pick the lock or bash it open. We're going to pick the lock. It's a smaller challenge, and we have more agility dice than we do combat. Remember, in an environmental encounter, we choose one of the options, and then those are the only dice that we'll be able to roll. Now, The question is, do we want to roll the heroic dice? I'm going to say no because we don't have a lot of time at our disposal. Ugh. So we're not going to be able to fulfill this one, which is it's fine. We're going to be able so we're able to do the armor, which we needed to do first. And then we're able to do this one, but we can't do this one because we don't have a 6. And in the square we have to put only 1, so we're going to lose a hit point. Fine. We can use a potion. So we can either take a combat item, a skill. In this skill, we can exchange 3 pips worth of blue dye, and then we get a free wild dice that we then roll. We can get 2 XP. We don't have any skills yet. I want to take advantage of that. Oh, we should have used our potion. That's okay. We got a little gloopy man. And we are going... Oh, gosh. These are bad. We're going to flee. We're not going to fight him. We're going to take our potion now. And we're going to have to fight this guy because we can't keep... oh, dang it, this guy. Just fleeing because it takes time. We have a limited amount of time, remember, before we get to the boss. This guy, before the encounter, we have to convert 1 item to XP. We'll probably do this one because we want the hit points from these. Yeah, alright, let's fight him. We'll convert that one to XP, and we will do our heroic feat because he makes me nervous, and we don't have very many combat dice. Alright, that's better. We'll roll the rest of these. Okay, can work with this a little bit. So the first thing we need to do is we need to satisfy the armor. So we're going to put a 6 here. Oh. And we don't need any of these pink dice for this. So we're going to make a 6. We'll put a 3 in there. So now our armor is done. So now we can just start funneling things out here to where they can protect us. We can't get this 5. We could get this 5 to be a 4. But we can't do any better than that. So we're just going to have to take 2 wounds. And we would have to take them. Because we can't spend that. Alright, let's end the encounter. Now one good thing about fighting that guy is he freed up an item space for us. So this skill is pretty nice too though. We put a pink dice here and we get a 6 on pink. We're going to take that one. Okie doke. Let's see what's behind this door. Another locked door. Yeah, we'll do this one. So we'll pick the lock, and remember, we have these 2 for the dungeon as well. We're not going to heroic feat. Terrible. Same thing happened again. Now this would be useful, but we can only use it in combat encounters. So I'm going to lose another hit point. So we can either take a magic, we could take a new skill. We'll take a magic dice. We're going to explore. We're getting close to floor 3. So we got to start thinking about that. Dodge them. Or disenchant them. That takes a lot of time. I like this backstab skill though. Alright, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And we're going to try to dodge them. And we're going to heroic feat. Oh, was this a terrible idea? We'll find out. Discard that one. Roll these guys. Yay, we got a 6. The 2 up there, or 3 up there, 6. Yay! Good. Alright. And then we're going to take the skill, which lets us exchange a pink die for 2 yellow die, which could come in handy like here with the gloopy ooze. We're going to try to fight him now. We're not going to do the heroic feat because it's going to cost us too much time. Alright. So we've satisfied the armor. Now the gloopy ooze, you lose a time for each skill you use. No, for each one rolled. And we rolled 2 1s, which is now why the stairs are exposed. That's great. I mean, it's not great, but it's fine. We're going to trade this. Yep. We're going to trade this 2 for 2 new yellow dice. Hopefully, yeah, that's alright. We could put this 5 here and this 3 here. Now we're going to take this and turn it into a 6. And we're going to take these 2 6s and make them into... Either way, we won't have to lose a heart. We'll just put it there. Because, so our consequence is 2 time here, which is fine. It'll put 2 hearts over here, but we only get a wound for every 3rd heart there. And if we were to do this, we could use kiting, but that would also make us lose a time instead of the heart. So either way, we're losing 2 time. So we'll end the encounter. And I like this. Here's also part of why I like this. I kind of want... Oh, here's a potion. I kind of want to replace this one, which is the same thing, a combat die and a heat point. But this is worth 4 XP, which would put us at level 3. So we're going to do that. Which gets us another potion. And it increases our inventory. We can now have 5 items and 4 skills. So we're going to go down to level 3, or floor 3. Whoa, we're really tearing through this dungeon. So, and I apologize, I might not have made this clear. These are cumulative with each encounter. So all of our combat encounters are now going to have a 3 combat check, a 5 magic check, and a 10 combat armor check. And all of our environmental encounters are going to have a 2 and a 5 armor and a 6. And that'll be in whatever skill the check is in. Now you see that since it's cumulative, it gets harder as you get further in the dungeon, which is one of the clever aspects of this game. It's how it ramps up the difficulty in theory as you are equipping yourself better and better. So let's explore. Because all of our skills have to do with combat, we're kind of raring for a fight here. The only thing that concerns me is this dragon skin over here, because we don't have a lot of combat dice. And of course, this is not a combat situation, so we can either try to jump over or climb around this pit of spikes. We already know the skill. You can't have 2 of the same skill. It's either spend time to do heroic feat and encounter this for something I don't care. All right, we're gonna try this one. No, I want a combat. Magic shield. Rush through. These are dumb too. We have to enter it though. I can't keep running away from things. Rush through or magic shield. I only have 3 dice. 3 blue dice. Let's rush through. Oof. And we'll spend time. Boop, 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 boop. That's terrible. And we'll roll these, because remember, in an environment encounter, you only are doing the color of the check as well as any random ones. So we have a 2. We don't have a 5. There's no way to get a 5. So we got to put the 6 here just so we can fight that. And we're going to lose. We're going to take a wound. Okay, we're going to have to drink our potion. We'll do this. And what that does is it lets us put a pink dice here to mitigate receiving one wound. One wound. God, Lee, one wound. All right, so we've taken our potion, and we're going to come over here and hope it's a combat, which it's not. It's some sort of trap. All of our skills are still combat encounter based. That's not great. Oh, we are coming fast up to the boss. The boss is going to be after this. Right. We'll enter and we'll run through, and either way we would have spent time. It's a terrible way to look at it, so we're going to go ahead and heroic feat our way in. Oh, that's less than ideal. Lovely. Alright, we can beat those. We can beat this. So we're just going to take one wound. We can either take a potion. Or an item. We're going to take the item. See what's here? No. These are all environment checks. I want that item though. Alright, we'll push it. Disenchant. We'll dodge them. Well, we'll try to dodge them. We haven't been the most successful with our rolls so far. I need a 5 and a 6. That's what's tricky. Oh, I got one. Good. Alright, 5, 2, 6. I'm one short. No! Dang it. We'll take a wound. I feel like this would have been different if we had gotten a combat encounter. Alright, we're just going to explore, and then we're going to go down the stairs. So that's the end. We've run out of cards anyway. So let's go to the boss. Let's see. Oh, no. Alright. So, the boss. I'm glad we got to see the boss, at least. These are his hit points. We have to hit him 6 times. And the way we hit him is by filling these squares with the skull in them. He gets 1 damage. He gets 1 wound for each square with the skull in it that we cover. And we need to cover... We can't use the wild dice to cover these. We do get to use all these fun things, though. So hopefully we can stay. Hopefully we can stay alive. Oh, for a period of time. All right. So we need. Oh, dang it. All right. We're going to. We're going to turn this 1 into a 6 because we need. The first thing we need to do is address this armor situation. Then we can deal some damage. And then we want... Now, we know we're not going to get a 6 here. Probably. I don't think it's worth trying for it. We know we're going to be able to dodge 1. We're going to put this over here so we can dodge 2 more. That's still not great. We need to cover at least one of these. So we have 8 and we have 9. All right, so we're going to put this here to get 2 more yellow dice. Yeah, okay, that's good. So we can put those there. Good. And that means we'll only take 2 wounds. Ugh. There's no way that we can get to 16. We have 8, 12, 14. So we're going to have to take these 2 hits. We don't have any potions. Alright, this is what's gonna have to happen. We took 2 hits, he took 2 hits. He's still got 4 hits though, and we only have 2 that we can take. So hopefully this will roll out better for us. Not super great. Alright. We'll exchange that for a 6 so we can break the armor. Do that. Add a 2. That's not what I wanted to happen. Alright. Do that. We're gonna give him 1 hit this time. We're gonna take so many hits. Oh no. Okay, we can trade that in for 2 more yellow. And we can trade these. Oh no. I want to do that and that. 8, 11, 13, 14. I can get to 17. I mean, this is rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic right now. Let's just end it. Oh no. We died. Okay. So, what does this mean for us? This means that we get some points to put towards a sort of campaign kind of thing. So, like, if we fill this up with 6 circles, so we get 4 circle checks right now for what we did. You get more if you beat the boss. Then I would be able to start each game with one base skill. If I fill this up, I could have 1 extra health. If I fill this up, my inventory increases by 1. This, start each game with an extra potion. That's really nice, actually. We're going to do that one. These are all for combat. These are all for encounters. And this gives you an extra roll in your boss fight, which is pretty neat. When you use a potion, heal 1 damage. When you descend, heal 1 damage. That's fun. After each boss round, heal 1 damage. That's no joke. So yeah, so this is my archer. And if I were to play again, oh wait, yeah, I assigned him. If I were to play again, she would have that same thing. So like the mage has precision. She shouldn't have all of those. Oh, she can start with one of these. Oh, I should be changing those when I start then. We've unlocked that slot, and we unlocked dungeon. And I played a couple with rogue. I played a couple with the warrior. I like the warrior because she's such a great tank. This actually brings up an interesting point. These are all female, which is pretty neat. And that's not a setting I put on. By default, they're all female. If you take away hero progression, you can just play with the base one. If you play with 2 heroes, your dice pool limit is still the same. So you just have access to more of them. So yeah, this game is quite clever. And like I said, it's a fun way. It's a fun port of the tabletop game, and it does a super good job of retaining the sort of entertaining feel while taking away a lot of the tediousness I think that would come from playing one deck dungeon by yourself as a solitaire thing. Playing it as a solitaire game online really works. Gauntlet mode is a thing that's not unlocked because I've not defeated each of the bosses in the core game. I defeated the dragon once. I might have defeated the Hydra once. The Yeti freezes me, and I haven't even looked at these two because their faces scare me. Um, so yeah, I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.